Sure. A word about me. I am also a vice chair at European Center for Business Industry and run a boutique management consulting firm out of India and Europe. I would be leading the discussion with four of our 40 under 40 leaders, three of them from the 2019 class and one of them from the 2020 class. Great leaders, great work demonstrated, and some of these people have been working on the areas where the questions have recently come and the policies are getting framed as well. So the discussions would be roughly for about 30 minutes. And I request each one of the speakers to briefly introduce about your current project and then get to the question. I will start with Silvia from our 2019 class of 40 under 40 leaders, future leaders, who is the founder of Sweepsmart, an organization that helps manage waste better and has done wonderful work in India as well, apart from Netherlands. The other panelists are Arun Savitz, Managing Director of Xynteo. Great work being delivered across in leading change at scale. Welcome on board, Adam. I'll come to you. Sumeet, Adam is from 2019 class as well. And Sumeet Kabra, Director of RR Global from 2020 class. And the group is doing, RR Global Group's done a lot of wonderful things in the traditional manufacturing sector and is pioneering innovation in green economies, and he will be bringing in a few aspects from there. And the group's chairperson is also a Padma Shri, so we will hear something about the values from them also. Then Kaushal Shah, he is the founder of Envopap from the UK. I would from the 2019 batch. So welcome on board. Let's start with Silvia. Yes. Silvia, with a brief introduction of your current projects, can you also tell us, being a EU company which specializes in waste management, like work in India, can you give an how do you explain the work which you're doing?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you very much for having me and inviting me on this panel. I feel very honored, and it's very interesting to join this discussion. Yeah, so I'm Silvia. I'm the founder of Sweepsmart. We are indeed a Dutch-Indian company. So we have a mother companies in the Netherlands, but a daughter company in Bangalore. And our mission is to create zero waste ecosystems in upcoming economies that make economic sense, that serve the community, that save the environment, and that create jobs to be proud of. So it's not just about the environment, it's also about the waste workers. And if you look at what we are good at is being a Dutch Indian company, we are really good in bringing the best of two worlds together. So we have a team with people that have extensive experience in waste management in Europe. So very broad expertise of best practices of waste management there. But then in order for it to work in a country like India, we believe you kind of need to reinvent it in order to make it work in a local context. And that's really what we are good at. That's in our DNA. And if you look at what we have done, we have extensive experience in setting up waste collection and sorting systems, mostly in India. We've also done a project in Indonesia, and we just started in Ghana. So our work is quite scalable to other countries, but most of our experience is in India, Bangalore, Delhi, Chennai, Ghaziabad. And so we've set up 11 waste sorting facilities to date, with 5 more coming up in a short time. And what we can do is we can do everything from consulting to turnkey delivery of the systems. And that also includes training, maintenance, and service. So we're sure that when we leave, the organization can run the facility in a proper way, but we can also be involved to help them achieve even higher levels of efficiency and ways of working. Yeah, and that's I'll keep it brief. That's also, I think, the value that we bring to India. We're here to build a modern and efficient waste sector, also focusing on efficiency and quality, health, safety, and environment standards. So I think this is also very important that I think India still needs to take that leap towards becoming more efficient, but also looking at the working standards of the people that are missing with the waste, and that's for us very important as well.
Thank you very much. Very, very valid points about India needing to take a further leap, and also the aspects of being the need to adapt into the Indian
Yeah.
what you call working condition and organization structures, and the way work gets executed here. Apart from these, what do you see are the other main inhibitors for not only the progress for Sweepsmart, but the other similar work?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think what we see is in a country like India, and it's, by the way, very good that you say need to make a further leap because so many good things are already happening. The first time we came to India, we were impressed by the movement from the top. So what the Clean India mission, the smart cities, etc., etc. So that there is really a will to do something about this, and also the movement from the bottom. So there are so many great NGOs and citizens initiatives and social enterprises that are really trying to come up with solutions that work on ground. And that's also where we see that we would like to play a role, because I think the governments that want to do something often do not really know the right solutions yet, although I think a lot of great stuff is already happening in India. And it has to be invented in a way, because it cannot be done like it is done in Europe in that sense. So I think that's an inhibitor where we play a role. And then further, but what we do see is that the sector is still nascent, so it's really in development. And that means that it's also underfunded, both in CapEx as well as OpEx. So in waste management, unfortunately, the waste on an average doesn't have enough value to be just responsibly collected and processed. So you need collection fees, taxes, something like that. So I think that's still a main challenge that we see, even on running the systems, and then of course also on building the system. So on the front side in terms of CapEx. And yeah, that's where you need organizations that will stick their neck out. And this can be municipalities, but I think also some of the brand owners are stepping up, like Coca-Cola, who has invested in a big fund to set up plastic waste management systems. Yeah, because this sector is still so young, it needs some more kickstarting funding, I would say. And then it also needs to discover, so we sometimes see that there are still choices made for kind of very, like a little bit the two penny wise pound foolish solutions. So choosing like very, very cost effective equipment, but which then in the end doesn't turn out to work, or just buying the equipment, but not thinking about consulting around it and how do you train the people to actually use the equipment properly. So I think that's it's part of a sector that's still growing up, and a lot of good stuff is happening as well, I would say.
Great. Thanks a lot for the inhibitors. Very, very well articulated. We did talk about the inhibitors now because you are delivering the work, and you might have sensed some early stimulus that keeps working. So have you seen any of these that will give you belief, not only in India, but across the world also?
Yes, no, absolutely. And yeah, absolutely. And I think India is really a front runner in many respects, but the rest of the world is following. And I think I already touched upon it briefly, but I do think that the Swatch Bharat Mission, the smart cities, the solid waste management rules and the plastic waste management rules, also the fact that the National Green Tribunal is playing an active role. yeah, it's making a difference. Eh? I think you can see that this spurs action, basically. And I think what I find very fascinating in India, that I think a lot of this is also driven by bottom-up initiatives, by citizens. In Bangalore, there's a group of citizens that started a court case against Bangalore municipality, and that's why so many changes have happened in the city. So I think the interplay between the top-down and the bottom-up is in India, I think, very interesting, with all these grassroots initiatives also doing a lot of good work. And then what I hope that will be a game changer, and I think we are already seeing that now, is that the plastics industry is voluntarily moving. So they are starting to invest in projects in waste management. There's internationally the Alliance to End Plastic Waste from the large plastic manufacturers that is investing heavily in waste management infrastructure across the world. Circulate Capital, there's quite a few other ones as well. And related to that, I think there's of course also not only the voluntary movement, but also the more legal route that's being taken, which is extended producer's responsibility. So this is where the plastics producers or brand owners are being held responsible for the plastic waste that they send into the system, and they actually need to get it back. And that relates also back to what I was saying in terms of the underfunded sector. EPR can play a big role in closing the gap, like the economic viability gap that is there, to make sure that it becomes economically viable to collect these plastics. And that's also a role that we then see in bringing this together, because this, as I mentioned before, the sector does still need to grow. So where the plastic producers and brand owners could fund the infrastructure, the government needs to support it, of course, because it is always related to government waste management. And then local organizations can run it, and we can help set them up.
Amazing. So you did touch about these what do you call positive stimulus that's happening on the front, policy making front, the law compliance that is needed, and also from the citizens movements that are happening, where earlier on the MPs also said that it needs to be individual than national, what do you call, multilateral and bilateral. So individually also it's starting. Tough, it's a nascent sector. And this is where I would like to call in Adam Savitz, who is an expert in change management and scaling the change and impact. So welcome on board, Adam. And I would like you to briefly introduce Xynteo and about leading change at scale. So like the issues of, can we, yeah, over to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you guys, and Silvia, excellent kind of intro there. So I work for Xynteo, I'm a managing director, and it's been great to be a part of this group for a number of years now. We work in the EU, and now I'm in the UK, so technically outside the EU. But we work on a program called Europe Delivers, and we also have a program in India called India 2022. That is a program where we have brought together companies and leaders like Hindustan Unilever, SBI, WPP, Hindalco, Cyient, Shell, and others. And very much what we believe in as an organization is to reinvent growth. The way we have been working for the last 150 years has been great from a capital perspective, but unfortunately it has not benefited everyone. It benefited the environment. The separation between the few and the many has kind of grown, and also we have a perpetual kind of short-termist view in everything we do at the moment. So we work with business leaders to help them change their mindsets, who in turn work within their businesses and then within the systems that they operate. So the wicked problems that exist out there, the truly systemic challenges that Silvia just alluded to, particularly in the waste sector, but also in India with Hindalco on sustainable mining. And yes, I use the word sustainable mining. I know it's a controversial topic. But equally with Cyient, the Hyderabad-based organization, on affordable diagnostic healthcare equipment. There are so many opportunities out there to tackle some of the biggest challenges in the world that exist and actually make a commercial return from it. What we're seeing around the world is is an amazing opportunity. We have no time. We literally have no time. 2030, there's 55% reduction in European greenhouse gas emissions is 9 years away. We're already planning the Olympics for 2032. How the hell are we going to decarbonize the whole of the EU in that short period of time? We also have these incredible policy and monetary stimulus on the table at the moment. We have the European Green Deal, which is, as Diederik Samson will say, more cash available now than there has ever been in history. The Chancellor in the UK next week is going to announce in the UK budget the National Infrastructure Bank, more money that's going to go to infrastructure projects than has ever been before. And so we have this real opportunity to leverage private finance, which they all want, work with businesses to truly transform systems, to electrify the whole of the EU, to bring that learning to India. I was saying to Arun before, I've probably been to India, I don't know, 50 times before COVID in the last couple of years. And I come back to the UK and think we might as well give up here. The scale of challenge and the opportunity that exists in India compared to the UK, we're just a scratch, pure scratch, on the surface of the kind of the opportunity that exists. And what we're trying to do is leverage our idea of collaboration. The only way we're going to succeed in tackling some of these real systemic challenges is to work collaboratively across industry, but also across other stakeholders, working with government, working with civil society and others. And this is kind of what we do. We bring individuals and companies together in a collaborative way to try and tackle the systemic challenges that exist and look at not the thing up here, which is we think is the problem, but try and understand the systemic change down here, which actually then feeds up into the whole system. So we are very, very, very excited. There is no time. It's like a poker game where we're all in. As John Kerry said recently about COP, this is our last best chance to actually do something. And so we're working with enlightened leaders in business to try and actually make that action happen. And as one of the CEOs said to us recently, he's had enough of pilot projects. We need to kind of move to scale. But that isn't easy.
Amazing. And this is always an issue when the CEOs make strategic decisions, and especially in strategic programs, on when to move from pilots to the actual putting the entire organization into the pain of strategic transformation. So what do you think are the opportunities, given you did mention that there is cash, and what do you think are the kind of opportunities that UK and EU present to India so that they can reduce this pain of transformation?
I wish there was a key that could just open that door, but there is a huge challenge. There has never been more money available. All the technology actually exists. About putting the right things in the right place at the right time, and then also considering the behavioral science piece of it. You can have the perfect solution, but put in the wrong place and it just doesn't work. One of the things we've experienced, and I mentioned this to you, Arun, but I joined a EU delegation to India on waste management a few years ago, and people across 16 European countries came to India with what they believed was a diamond printing machine. Their technology, their solution was perfect, and they had it here and they were like, buy this off me. It's like, you print diamonds effectively. And the response they always got, and this is the same response that, Sanjeev Mehta at Hindustan Unilever will also say to us, India is not a homogeneous country. So trying to find a solution that fits the whole country and scale it up is just impossible, as everyone said. But equally, the response they always get is, well, where's this been trialed in India? And they're all, frustrated by the fact that, well, we haven't yet. This is why we're here. And then they, if they get past that question, then it's where's it been trialed at scale? And so they're all like, well, obviously it hasn't, sort of thing. And so there's this kind of challenge that exists with, amazing technology. It comes back to kind of the EV point before in terms of electric cars and battery technology and everything like that. What has to happen somewhere in that system is either someone takes a risk on a technology that, could be the diamond printing machine for any industry or whatever it is, or all the masses of engineering that exist in the country, and innovation and everything else that's coming, that has to somehow scale. And lots of people put lots of money in to kind of do things like that. But what we believe is, if we were to get the whole of the CPG industry to not just go and buy extended producer responsibility credits. Fantastic announcement from Sanjeev Mehta and Hindustan Unilever today on being waste neutral. But we need to go a step further. There's really kind of systemic challenges in there, and one of the things we did was we produced a education series for children to let them know that you can even recycle plastic. Let alone, that's not a kind of concept that you would kind of initially know. So then you need the infrastructure in place and everything else. So we need all of that. We need it very, very quickly in order for us to kind of tackle some of these challenges. And the way we believe to do that is to bring these massive behemoth organizations together and say, the Tartars, work with the Billas, work with Reliances and others to actually formulate a plan and give us your people, your money, your ideas, your technology, your space and everything like that. And we'll help catalyze and ignite and push that collaboration.
Right, Adam, that energy is needed a lot. And thanks for the inspiration and giving the confidence that it can be done. One last point before I move on to Sumeet Kabra. And Sumeet definitely is trying to tackle the EV as well as the education sector together, the group. So before that, net zero ambitions and goals of the UK, how can India benefit from that, or benefit at scale from that? A moment, if you can take for that.
Well, our Alex Sharma, the head of COP and the UK minister, was in India 2 weeks ago. And he is pushing, obviously, for India to set a net zero ambition target, which is difficult to do. And like I say, with whatever we invest today puts us in a trajectory to 2030 or 2050. What they're talking about with all of this money is infrastructure projects or electrifying the whole of Europe or the whole of India, in order to be able to use electric network for EV vehicles, for example. The decisions we make today lock us into a trajectory for 2030 and way beyond because of the size of the infrastructure and the investment that's made. So the question we keep challenging the EU and challenge UK government is, who's thinking systemically about this? Who's thinking that if we invest here, and here, it all adds up to the sectorial decarbonisation targets and aspirations we're looking for? So, it's not a sort of, think about this in 5 years' time. It's like today. And so I think the thing that we can kind of learn and certainly translate is that systemic. How are the EU going to kind of crack that? And then how can they kind of take that to, a country with, many, many states and, bigger and equivalent to kind of the EU in terms of, governance and kind of challenge, because the EU Green Deal is going to pay that money out to 27 member states who are then going to pay it to different businesses and elsewhere. And that sounds very familiar with regard to kind of what's going to happen in India as well.
Thank you very much, Adam. Now we have seen Silvia Devon's interventions and experiments in creating change to the systemic change and scaling that your methods and attempts have been with the Indian industry. And I'd like to go to Sumeet Kabra, the director, RR Global, from our class of 2020. Sumeet, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, good evening. Yeah.
Very good evening, Sumeet. Sumeet, can you briefly highlight RR Global's portfolio of businesses and the new strategic transformations you're currently executing?
Thanks, Arun and Sujit and everyone, the panelists here. It's an honor and privilege to be here with all of them. RR Global is one of the largest electrical conglomerate. We are known for copper in India. So whatever India produces or consumes, 7% of the copper we consume in RR Global. Well, it's in a different form altogether. We are into wires and cables. We are into magnet wires. We are into copper tubes, copper bus bars. So any product related to copper. So when we say people are known as a brand in B2C, we say we are brand in C2C. That is anything in copper, any consumer. So that's the way we say in India. We are also into multi-level car parking systems, which provide building industry majority. And recently, we ventured into electric scooter as well.
Okay.
Well, we have around 12 plants in India, one plant in Bangladesh as well. And the latest, before 6 months or 1 year, we started a plant in Dubai as well for making a bus ducting system. So we have a decent presence in India as well as in Bangladesh, Burma, and Middle East. This is what we do in India.
Great. Thanks for the introduction. And now, what do you see is the future of electric mobility according? Do you think India would be one of the fastest adopting countries, given, can we take the example of smartphone adoption, the pace, compare it?
Arun, why only smartphones? Let it be anything. Like, we have started adopting the change, whatever it's been necessary. And the solar industry,
Mhm.
let it be smartphones. So before 5 years, we used to import phones. Now it's something like, we are exporting around 30 million phones every year. This is
Right.
kind of technology adaptation India has done. And to be verifying, the government has supported a lot for encouraging this. So there has been, of course, there's been a paradigm shift. India is known as now a trusted exporter. There's a shift in last 5 years. So this is something amazing. Of course, we are seeing the same paradigm shift in scooters as well, getting from gasoline to electric scooters. Uh, because of course,
Right.
government is pushing for it. At the same time, the benefit what you see per scooter saving, you get the returns within 3 years, which is amazing.
Mhm.
So it has
Yeah.
changed thanks to the petrol gas prices going up to 100 rupees in India, which is supporting a lot comparatively for pushing it more faster. So Indian
Right.
economy, MSME supports 30% of the GDP where the people work. And this is where the target for us as well as an audience. So looking at, so much big population and converting this all scooters, it may take time. But the government has taken a deadline of by 2024 or 20, getting converted the whole gasoline scooters into electric scooters.
Yeah. Sumit, there is a hard stop for Kaushal, who would like to step out for a very important meeting. He's logged in from London. Kaushal, I'll come back to Sumit for a couple more questions.
Fine, that's fine.
Kaushal
That's fine.
Shah
Please go
is
ahead.
from yeah 2020, 2019 class, and does wonderful work based out of UK in creating products which don't use trees at all, and they are the products that are there on your table, including paper. So Kaushal Shah from Envopap. Kaushal, come on board, and can you tell us how Envopap fits in with the current discussions of EU-India relations, and how do you contribute towards the development of the circular economy, Kaushal?
Firstly, thank you so much, Arun, for the kind introduction, and thank you, EICBI, for inviting. It's a pleasure to be back. Just a quick introduction. We are Envopap. We make innovative, sustainable packaging and printing materials, which are kind to the planet by using the waste of agricultural residue, which is found in India. We use the waste of sugarcane, wheat, rice, and sarkanda. These waste fibers are usually burnt or dumped. We collect them from farmers and sugar mills and wheat mills, make it into pulp, and this pulp is then pressed and dried into making our packaging materials. We cater to a wider segment here, mostly focused on the food packaging or the e-commerce packaging sector or the clothing, and at the same time in the cosmetics and publishing industry. So our company is born in the UK. I started the business while I was pursuing my master's at the University of Southampton. And then now we have a EU HQ, which is in Frankfurt, and
Okay.
all our production is in India, all across India, and we work across the northern and southern segment in India as well. And our main core motive is to raise the standards of sustainable packaging and help brands create wealth for the world from the waste we generate in India.
Right.
And as you know, as a business which is headquartered in the UK, uh, our materials are then recycled and composted in the UK and EU, and both our materials and our business is very much circular in nature. And our teams are very much multicultural with our bases all across EU, UK, and India as well. And we have, been here for the last 6 years, and we've been partnering with a lot of local organizations, such as multiple, universities in the UK, such as
Right.
University of Bath or University of Southampton, Surrey. Southampton is my alma mater, and we've been looking to make products in the UK, where our materials come from India. We make our end products for the packaging sector here, and then sell it to our clients, which then get recycled or composted in the UK or EU as well. So we're closing the loop by using the waste in India, which was a big problem with waste management of agricultural waste, and then creating products into the European region and selling them all across EU and UK as well. And it's been great in the last 3 years with the UK collaboration.
The progress has been great, and I do look, I can see that there are prospects brighter as well. But what have been the lessons so far? You have multiple collaborations across EU now, the UK and India. So any lessons that you might want to share, which might help Adam and people like Silvia and all of us?
Sure. So, our business model and our materials are given a much warmer reception, and I would say a much larger, greater consideration as well in the UK and European business segment. And being headquartered in the UK and close proximity to the EU, we have inculcated global standards in our Indian operations as well. And being a British company and being a certified B Corporation helps with a strong commitment to balance our purpose, which is raising the bar of packaging, and balance our purpose and the planet alongside with the obvious profits, because we are a profitable organization making money for our shareholders. But working together with our partners like Founders Factory, which is one of the largest accelerators here in London, the London Waste and Recycling Board, where we look at collaboration on how can we look at innovative ways of making our materials decompose into, close the loop, the end of life, and then working with partners like Swatch Bharat, which is a collaboration of 5 universities, where we are using their labs, we are conducting trials, we are innovating with making new chemicals which can be applied on materials, and then working with the London and partners and being in the Mayor's International Program, where we get a huge amount of support from partnership opportunities, while it's not just getting customers, but also companies and partnerships where we can collaborate together to reach our goal. And partners here are all open, all about collaboration. And that's one thing which is a huge lesson, because at the end of the day, these partners have helped us in all the way from conceptualization to collaborating to marketing of our products, and helping with, the mostly finding greater options for closing the end of the loop, and which contribute to our circular economy. I think, at the end of, we need to now look at greater collaboration opportunities within the UK and EU and India towards contribution towards circular economy.
Thanks a lot, Kaushal. That brings in very, very positive vibes from the Founders Factory and similar kinds of clusters and partners, which are, I'm guessing that they're in the private and sector, or the collaborations that are happening in between entrepreneurs. But do you have any suggestions for what governments at the EU and the national level, and including the UK, can do to create even further, give even further impetus for the sustainable economy and green economy?
Thank you. That's a very interesting question. To be very honest, I do believe, and that's my personal opinion, but I do feel that, in the Western Hemisphere, we are a little bit relaxed in terms of implementing milestone resolutions. And I say that because I've been to Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania last year, and I've traveled a couple of times. The first thing when I landed at Kigali International Airport was they checked my bag if I had plastic bags. And in the EU nor in the UK, we don't have any, rules such as where we are banning plastic bags, which are so widely utilized, all the way from our Tesco's to, wherever we go, there's a plastic bag. Of course, consumers don't want to use such products, and they're moving to more reusable bags. But I think it does involve governmental resolution in putting up a new policy. But I do feel, there has been some good development happening under the Basel Convention as well, which is aiming to make the export of plastic to poorer countries more transparent, where the objective was to allow developing countries like Malaysia, Vietnam, to refuse low quality or the plastic materials which were difficult to recycle before it is being shipped out of UK or EU. And the UK packaging tax as well, which is great, which applies to plastic packaging produced in or imported into the UK that does not contain at least 30% recycled plastic. So there have been good initiatives being taken with the EU's ban coming next year for the plastic cotton bud stirrers, But I think we are far away from our basic products which we use on a daily basis. These are the products which need to be looked in much rather detail, and given new materials which are coming out, they need to be looked at in a way where innovation is being generated through business opportunities.
Thanks a lot, Kaushal, and thanks for taking time. If any further questions come, we will pass them on by email to you and share the responses back to the audiences. Thank you. Over to you,
Thank you, guys.
Sumit. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Sumit.
Yeah.
Where were we? We were discussing about the possible new innovations in the what do you call green economy sector. So, what are the new innovations you would like to execute?
Harun, our group has been always known for that, and we have been a classic example of blue ocean strategy, where we follow all the four things: eliminate, reduce, raise, and create. So we have always worked on these four things and always launched the product in the market. Let it be when we started with wire and cable, we are the only one who produce unilay technology, where you have to don't twist it. We give already twisted and cut it and fit it. So we have
Right.
one stage in that. Same way, we also follow a policy of safety, saving, and sustainable. If these three
Right.
things are on the right, we always work with this policy for launching the product. So when it comes to reduce, we developed a brushless DC motor technology where we converted all the fans from 75 watt to 28 watt. And we are the first one in India, you can see on BW website. And the latest one, what we have developed is light fidelity technology, where with optical fiber, we are able to give the internet in the most rural village. So I had passed on the article. We are the first proud Indian woman which has done the internet through light fidelity in two of the villages in Gujarat. And this is an amazing technology where without hindrances, you get the Gbps speed, that speed you can achieve through light fidelity. So these are the innovations on the cars on right now at Ara Global. Of course, we are working a lot on electric scooter as well, but right now I cannot announce that.
Sure. Thanks a lot, and very, very well reiterated fundamental aspects of the green economy, savings, and how do we minimize utilization of scarce resources. And at a factory level, you are making this happen with copper and other precious metals, and that again transfers to the homes where the devices use less and less amount of power. Great. And one last question before we pass it on to the other panel. So it is your group chairman is a Padma Shri, so and strong promoter of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So is this the reason behind entering into the electric scooter segment, or any other reason? And
Padma Shri was a reason for, Arun, when you get success, it is from personal and professional goals, whereas the satisfaction comes from philanthropic goals. So this is a belief what we do in our family. So he was recognized as a Padma Shri for that activity. We are handling so many NGOs like Friends of Tribal Society, which has won the Gandhi Peace Award. We are in HEMA Foundation. We are giving a model value education across more than 2 lakh students. 200,000 students are getting associated with us right now. So there are a lot of things on the philanthropic side. So that's the reason he has been recognized for Padma Shri. Well, electric scooter was the basic reason was, Arun, if you look at our group culture, we are 21-year-old company in our Kabel. We have always proactively disrupted ourselves and as a challenge that, we will disrupt ourselves and find the new technology which is coming in the market. And electric has been always our base. So why not to explore that further? So we have a strength in motors. The only thing where we have to do mastery in was in the battery side, which we have done the association with our suppliers. So it's a great win-win situations. I know there are going to be many players, but with this fierce competition, if your right sustainable models are there and your backward integrations are ready, it's a great opportunity to be going in this sector, and we are confident to be again in this sector as well in top five.
great. Thanks a lot, Sumit. And let me also thank Mahendraji Kabra for leading. I did have a couple of interactions with him. Great
Thank
personality.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sylvia and Adam, would you have anything to add before, because we're running a bit short on time? If you'd like to add, we can, and then pass it on to Councillor Aryan for the next panel.
No, just fantastic opportunity that exists in India, huge challenge, and we just really, really need to scale some innovation and opportunities today. I'll put in the chat kind of what more we're doing in India, so people are interested, they can explore that. Plus also we just brought out a new report in Europe where we surveyed 80 CEOs, including Chandra at Tata Sons, about how we recover better effectively. So feel free to kind of check that one out as well.
Thanks a lot, Adam. Thanks for taking time, and we look forward to a lot of more collaborations. Miss Silvia, any more points?
Yeah, well, I think I've been listening to the discussion. I'm really fascinated by the work that the other panelists are doing. So that really sounds great, and happy to hear also your words, Adam, about the systemic change, because that is really what is needed. And I agree with the comment also that I get annoyed that in Europe it takes so much time to come up with any regulation to do anything about anything, and that's why it's always interesting to see both worlds, because you have such a different perspective, and it just surprises me, and that's where I also learn from India and tell people about India and things that are happening there, and India and Africa, you know, the other examples that were mentioned, and I just think we need to exchange more in that respect and learn from each other in all ways.
Thanks a lot, Ms. Silvia and Adam, Sumeet, and Kaushal. We will get to the questions if time permits, or we will circulate them by email. Councillor Aryan, I did take a little more time than was allocated, but it was an interesting discussion. Can I pass it on to you, please? Councillor.